Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's exciting to partner with Microsoft and Pronix to explore how artificial and Gen AI are transforming industries using cutting edge technologies like Azure AI. My name is Vinod Metra. I am proud to be hosting this event, a journey into artificial generative minds with Microsoft Azure AI. Today, I am joined by two esteemed experts, Ben John and John Almason. Ben is the Vice President of Engineering at Microsoft AI, where he leads the development of innovative artificial intelligence solutions. Prior to this role, Ben served as a Chief Technology Officer at Xander and AppNexus. Welcome, Ben. Dr. John Almason is a Senior Managing Director and Head of Client Tech and AI at TIA. He leads the development of large-scale AI, data, analytics, and cloud platforms. John has held leadership roles in some of the previous organizations like McKinsey, Bank of America, and American Express. He's also a member of Arizona State University Board of Advisors. Welcome, John. We see a wide variety of audience here, whether you are an AI enthusiast or a business leader or a technologist. This discussion is designed to give you an actionable insights into how AI and Gen AI can drive transformation. You can post your questions in the chat window, and if time permits, panel will address them towards the end of this discussion. Microsoft Azure AI, with its robust platform, it has been a game changer in enabling organizations to innovate, scale, and operate responsibly in the era of AI and Gen AI, whether it's healthcare, finance, or retail, or manufacturing. Azure AI is helping companies unlock creativity, improve efficiency, and address real-world challenges. Having said all of this, let's jump straight in. We'll start with AI for creativity and innovation. Ben, I'll start with you. How is AI and Gen AI helping organizations unlock creativity and innovation?
Thank you, Vinod, for having me. Hello, everyone. So let's start with this AI and generative AI. I'm glad that you separate AI and Gen AI because AI has been there for many years and many decades. We all wrote basic programming with AI and some sample data sets and machine learning algorithms. But generative AI is something revolutionizing the industries in the last 18 months or so. And every industry is looking at how can we generate more content, generate more meaningful insights out of existing data and content. So that is the revolution that's happening. And one of the reasons that is getting more excitement and as well as more advanced is the infrastructure. So in my opinion, there are three reasons why Gen AI is getting the attraction and attention that's needed. One is demand by the market and consumer behaviors. Consumers are consuming a lot of digital devices across many things, and there is a world that people live in, a normal world, and there is a digital world, and large population of users are living in the digital world and consuming a lot of content and generating a lot of content. So the consumer behaviors are changing. And the second one is the infrastructure, hardware, and all the basic foundational things are ready now with the speed that it can process large volume of data. And the third one is there is more demand in the market for industries to innovate, to retain their consumers, attract more consumers, and also meet the needs of the consumer. So it's by the needs of the market and the uses of the behaviors of the consumers and the growth of the infrastructure. Now generative AI is definitely leading and allowing us to innovate and enjoy this. And it's every industry. Think about engineering, for example. Large volume of code is being written by generative AI, and those codes is, I'm an engineer, but I'll acknowledge that code is much better than a normal engineer would write on their version one, right? So that is a disruption that we are talking about, and it will only get better, so which we'll cover in a few future questions. But I will turn it over to John to share his point of view.
Yeah, thanks, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Vinod. Yeah, that's a great question, and I wanted to say that Ben is right with the, I would say, generative AI and through ChatGPT, obviously, OpenAI first beginnings really open a new era for innovation and creativity. And it also, as Ben highlighted, it's fostered by multiple opportunities when it comes to cloud infrastructure, to better algorithms and ability to scale these solutions. But also, it really transforms the way that we were innovating. You know, in traditional AI, we spend most of the time to build the models, to train the models, to validate the models. And then this process could take anywhere from 6 months to sometimes some years to get to a production. Now, with generative AI, we are dealing with foundational models are already trained. They already understand extremely well in a very large variety of domains. They are knowledgeable and they have expertise already. So it means that now time to market is shrink from, I would say, months or years to literally weeks or days. So that really
Yeah.
lies an immediate impact on innovation and creativity. Now, of course, this technology, like any others, will come with a certain opportunity of growth, opportunity for ROI, opportunity for art of possible, unlimited possibilities, but also we have to be cognizant of the risk associated with this technology as well. So creativity, to give some examples, Vinod, on this space, I think specifically in the financial industry, you can see from the first time that ChatGPT and then Gemini, and of course Microsoft Azure, and now Microsoft with ChatGPT and all these technologies evolved, really empowered us to become better, faster in creating content,
Yep. Yep.
and generating information that otherwise would take us very long time. So marketing, HR, and many other domains, companies are leveraging now generative AI to become extremely powerful in messaging, in streamlining, and hyper personalizing the message in a way that will be more appropriate for certain audience.
Yeah. Absolutely spot on. So Azure AI, it works with their own GPT models, and it also works with certain third-party LLMs, right? They have something called model catalog. Businesses can readily integrate their applications via those LLMs, and they can also fine tune with their own data, right? So it's a great platform, really a game changing platform. So let's go to the next item here. Ben, how does Microsoft Azure AI differentiate itself as a platform to address the challenges of building and implementing AI or Gen AI?
Yeah. And Microsoft has been investing heavily and growing in the overall Azure infrastructure platform, right? That's one of the things I mentioned before. For generative AI to operate and scale a foundational infrastructure platform is a key. And if you think about any enterprises or any businesses to get on to the AI game, the number one thing I would say is get alignment on your data strategy, get
Yep.
alignment on your content strategy. If you can't get your data and content aligned and your house in order, you can't really play a game and win in the AI business, right? So that's just the thought for any businesses. And
Completely agree.
right, and how you get that organized and orchestrated and leverage and make a meaningful value out of your own business platform like Azure has ton of uh, options and products available. Whether you look at the data platform and Fabric or Snaps and Cosmos, and also you have ton of product features like processing content using OCR or generating content and cleaning up the content. So there are so many products and features available as long as you are leveraging it right and identifying the right use cases. So I would say the first thing is to make sure you as a business understand and identify your strategy with your strengths and what your data and content can play. The second one is how do you leverage platforms like Azure to make sure you build that enterprise scale, you make meaningful value out of it. Then you come into AI. So basically, based on the AI, Azure offers very open infrastructure with models available from OpenAI to open source models. So there are a ton of models available that you'll be able to use, and you'll be able to fine tune. And also we have Microsoft has like Copilot Studio. You'll be able to build your own Copilot in minutes. So those are all the pieces that assembles. Also, there's a multi-model thing. It's not just the text. You'll be able to build AI solutions with
Yeah.
vision and the images and audio. So I think that's
Yeah.
where it goes back to what I said earlier. It's all about number one, what problem you're looking to solve, what type of audience and consumers you're looking to attract, and leverage your data and content, make meaningful value out of it. Azure OpenAI offers all of those suites of platforms and products by leveraging that so that you can build it in a much better and faster way. The thing that I would like to highlight is if some of these things that if it takes like weeks and months, you're doing something wrong. I mean, that's the whole point. You should be able to get and sign on and subscribe a product and upload some data and try something and go live in a matter of hours and days, not even weeks, and validate some of those things. Then you should be able to run some A/B testing. Which product feature is being used and whatnot, and that loop of getting the feedback and leveraging and building it is what one other strength that you'll be able to leverage from Microsoft Azure.
Right. Right. Yeah. Tools like Power Platform, Dynamics 365, it makes it integrate seamless with those tools.
No, I think
Well said.
there are two things, right? One is the B2B and B2C. If you're in a B2B space, where
Yeah.
your customers are, how are you learning about your customers, and making sure you leverage that customer data to get meaningful insights out of it. And tools like Power BI and Dynamics as out of the box Copilot offering that you'll be able to get meaningful value that you don't need several engineers or analysts to derive meaningful insights. If it is a B2C, the use cases that I talked about will also cover. Yeah, agree.
Right. Yeah. Power Platform offers a lot of no-code, low-code tools there, right? That makes it much more faster for organizations to build their applications. Great insight. John, you want to add anything here?
Yeah, I think to have a reliable platform, you have to have all of the things that Ben mentioned, but also you have to have a good knowledge and understanding, and on top of it, you have to have also a proper governance security in place to trust
Right on. Yes.
data and your information is going to be secured, and the content that you are going to generate is going to be complete and accurate. So I think those elements of ensuring responsible AI, ethical AI, and also security and secured AI, I think those are the elements that will make a successful journey for everyone.
Yeah, completely agree. Very well said. So building on what we have discussed, let's move on to implementing AI effectively. John, again, I'm coming to you here. What practical steps should organizations take to begin their AI journey with Azure AI?
So in general, when we talk about traditional AI, we all notice that a model development lifecycle must be in place. Now, similar to that process, we have to think a little bit differently when it comes to generative AI, because it is really, I like Ben's point earlier that if you're not getting to a product or a solution in weeks or days, then you're doing something wrong. And before we do anything, we should focus on building a foundation. To me, foundation is leveraging a platform that provides you the trust that whatever you're doing is going to scale, is going to allow you to bring your own models or to leverage an existing model, is going to allow that platform to scale at the pace and with the rate that you want your organization is ready to do. Second, I'm talking about products that you're going to develop. Those products must be designed with all the features of the platform in mind, but also to enable you to have these interconnectivities and integrations within your organization and outside of the organization. And that's why my chief information and operations officer Sastry mentioned recently that it's not enough to have solid platform, but also the networking to support and the cloud solutions to support your growth of AI. The next thing is, of course, governance. Another major pillar is how do you ensure that your end-to-end experience in using AI, it is going to have the right guardrails, but also the right, I'll call it standards and SOPs as a code, so then it can be delivered with a peace of mind, and both from a hallucination, from a completeness, accuracy of the answer, but also from exposing the data or highlighting or using inconsistent data. So that governance has to be supported, of course, by a robust policy. Most, I would say, technology-driven and startups, they can afford a standalone responsible AI policy because they are more focused towards innovation, while financial industry and in general in financial space, it is more difficult. That's why you have multiple policies that are touching on AI, from LRC, cyber, MRM, and so on. So having a way to bring them all together under one umbrella, and instead of validating your products by product approval, to go in a pattern approach and approve patterns rather than products, that will certainly help to scale and to be ready for adopting and speeding up the adoption of generative AI. And last but not least, I think this is very important, is from a readiness perspective, education and awareness. And importance to highlight the differences between automation and AI, between traditional AI and generative AI, and more importantly, through this education and awareness, people to understand both the opportunity, the art of possible, the big, I would say, chances to stand out in this very dynamic and competitive environment, and to balance that with don'ts, what you should not do, when, where, or how should not use this technology, because it could become a very risky business if employees are not prepared, educated, and aware about how not to use these technologies as well. So those are, to me, the pillars of the foundation to be successful in a journey, especially in the context of this fairly new, even though it's already 2 years to it now, but still every day it's evolving in a different direction, in a different way that we couldn't believe or didn't expect to go and to learn so much in such a short time. So learning, it's causing both opportunities, but also a challenge for many organizations too.
Awesome. Ben, would you like to share any of your insights on practical steps to implement Azure AI?
Yeah, so I think John covered from a tech and product perspective. I'm going to give a business perspective, even though some of the things I'm going to share probably the audience would know. I would start with the user, right? Even if you're, whether it's a B2B user or a B2B company or a B2C enterprise, who your audience is, who your user is. And when you build and solve problems from a user-centric way, and I think then the question naturally leads into what problem you're looking to solve. Whether you're looking for user acquisition or user adoption or user engagement or user efficiency or user growth. So it just needs to be user-centric thinking for any businesses, because your users or your consumers or your customers are the one going to make you successful as a business. But then the second thing is, from a business perspective, I would always say, start thinking whether it's a top line growth or bottom line savings. Is it the product or the use case or the thing that you're thinking about with the AI, whether you're thinking to look net revenue increase and the growth, or looking to cut some costs and efficiencies? Based on that, you can approach. I mean, that's where, a lot of things, when you hear about generative AI automation, it can generate, there is like a lot of questions and concerns and flags about, replacing humans' jobs and whatnot. So introducing some of these revolutionary, transformative technologies into an organization will only create chaos if it's not aligned at the executive level of who's the user, what problem you're looking to solve, and is this going to help us net new products or existing products with growth, or some efficiency and automation. So based on that, then, zooming in on those specific use cases, and I've seen and worked with some customers, they create like a small working group on each of those projects, assign a directly responsible individuals to drive it, and create that awareness, education, all the things that John talked about. That will come. But I know the question is about Azure AI. In this world and age, the technology is the last thing people should worry about, because anything you can think of, it's already out there. So don't try to solve the problem already solved. Especially, human capital engineering is the most expensive thing in any businesses these days. And even though there are so many jobs out there, it's hiring and getting the right talent to meet that business need is a really hard problem. So technology is not the hardest problem. There are platforms and tools and processes already out there. So leverage those, and Azure, if you look at it, that's probably most of your problems already solved. So what you need is looking at the right use cases, making sure you have the right mindset of employees and engineers, integrating those solutions and delivering it faster and validating is what thinking about. And there are some of those complex use cases. If you'd like to build on top of it, then you can leverage the overall infrastructure and build it on your own. I'm trying not to generalize. I'm just giving you the, just the basic version of how you can get entered into the market to go things faster.
Yeah, very well said, Ben. Whatever is the problem that you are trying to solve, there is a technology out there, right? Whether the Fabric or Purviews for governance, and whether it's Azure AI or Azure Studio. I think now it's called Azure Foundry, AI Foundry, I think. So the tools are out there. No need to reinvent the wheel. Leverage the technologies that are out there. And you covered the business, the whole landscape, right? Whether it's an innovative solution that you're trying to solve, or an operational efficiency that you are trying to address, or whatever it is that your organization is facing. Great insights. So let's move on. Taking this step further, Ben, again, the question to you. Given Azure AI's capabilities, could you share some common use cases? I know you work for Microsoft, you worked for ad agencies in the past, but can you share any use cases from industries like insurance, finance, or healthcare?
Yeah.
Or even retail?
Just to put it out there, in this forum, I don't represent Microsoft. I'm representing I represent my personal views. I'm also not part of Azure group. I'm a part of the Copilot Microsoft AI group, but I used Microsoft Azure extensively, and I work with the large set of advertising customers, and I'm allowed to share my point of view to create that awareness industry. I love learn and teach, so I'm sure I'm learning some while I'm sharing some of my expertise. So just to put it out there.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. Yeah.
And it's a very broad question to talk about what are some of the use cases. I think we should start with verticals, and some of the verticals that are really looking to grow net new products and reach the consumers, those who are technologically savvy about, and that is what the most important and critical use cases enterprises are looking to solve. I mean, there are definitely enterprises looking to cut costs and efficiency and automation. That is one way to look about it. But again, those are considered as taking some of those dollars and making it as investment for a net growth for the product. And creativity is one of the common area when it comes to generative AI, whether it's content, whether it's media assets, whether it's additional information. and speed. So those are the things that people leverage and build it, especially media industries. Somewhere if you look at generating content or consuming some of the content that Gen AI can produce is a common use case. But also, there are concerns about misinformation, hallucination. How can we trust and we be responsible, and privacy and security? All those things also come in as a concern or an area for things to address.
Yeah.
And any enterprise or customer has a large volume of data. Let me give you a simple example. Let's take an insurance company as an example. So the insurance company has like huge volume of documents, and any customer files a claim, and every customer have their own version of the contract or binding that they have based on what optionalities that they pick in. And I'm sure for filing a claim, you got to go through a ton of documentation and read it and process it and validate it, right? So if all of those content is fed to LLMs in a way that's trained and map it to a customer, the answer is very easy. Whether the customer has a flood insurance or not, whether that specific property has a flood coverage or not, or specific coverages or specific, and it can also make recommendations. Basically, people who live in this particular zone, or people who buy this kind of properties, or people who buy this kind of automobiles and have used these kind of claims, and they use these kind of features that will help both the companies as well as the customer. So just one simple use case. Think about where there is a ton of documentation and content is where I see large use cases, especially creativity and growth.
Right. Thanks, Ben. John, I know you work for TIA insurance company. You want to share any insights?
Yeah, absolutely. I want to actually something same as Ben, similar disclosure. These are my own thoughts and my own opinions. And as you've seen in my experience, I'm very passionate about this domain. So what I'm sharing here, obviously, it's something that I'm passionate about, but it represents my own thoughts and opinions. Now, when it comes to solutions and what could be those most impactful, I mean, I wanted to say that large language models, they say in the name, they are language. Technically, everything that has to do with text, everything that has to do with large text, it is simplified with the use of these models. And I'm very proud to say that for TIA, if you go right now to the public search, tia.org, I think we are, from my knowledge, we are the first company in the financial industry that powered our public search with the use of Gen AI. So that's unique in the field, and I think to add to
what LLM are you using for this?
We have multiple LLMs. Actually, we use all of them, and depending on what kind of product solution, we choose the one that gives us the highest accuracy with the lowest cost. And that's another benefit of being part of an environment that provides you with opportunities in leveraging out-of-the-box solutions as well as open source solutions. Now, when it comes to products that really are making a difference in the day-to-day life of our associates, I would say that those that are handling, for example, in development, we know training, it's so critical. And instead of having, let's say, multiple senior engineers to start spending time from, especially when you onboard a large number of junior developers, you take away the time from developing products and putting the senior engineers to train the junior engineers. Now, a lot of this work is done today in a more balanced way. The senior engineers will cover certain topics, maybe 20 to 30%, while the rest of the training will be driven by generative AI. This junior data scientists or cloud engineers or front-end engineers, now they can go with our own RAGs and they can search for information that is not only approved by TIA with our own standards, but it's readily available through a conversation. So that makes us significantly more productive and also more accurate in everything we do. On the other hand, anyone's, let's think about onboarding new employees. How do you find this information so meaningful for you as a new employee when it comes to all the benefits and so on? So that's another way that companies can use these technologies to bring information closer to the user, faster to the user, and also very accurate information, reliable. So
Right.
cybersecurity is another domain where training employees and helping employees to understand the threats that are now coming from these bad actors, it's growing. So having Gen AI to become a trainer for our employees and expose them to content that could be tricky, and making them more prepared to protect the company, protect ourselves. I think that's also another way to show how powerful these language models are in the hands of virtually anyone in the company, from investment to HR to recruiting to cybersecurity and any other function in any company.
Yeah, yeah. You both covered most of the use cases at a high level. Thanks for all of that. I know also Azure AI has these capabilities with AI vision, cognitive search, form recognition, and all that kind of stuff. I know some of the organizations are leveraging those capabilities. Wonderful. Let's move on. Let's discuss some success stories here. John, could you share a couple of compelling success stories
Absolutely.
where Gen AI powered by Azure AI. Azure AI is the discussion topic today. If you can share some of the success stories, that would be great.
Yeah, so we are using, we have three patterns defined at a high level for, I would say, better control and visibility into how we approve products. And the first pattern is public data with public models. The second one is internal data with internal models. And the last one is building our own proprietary tiny and small language model with internal data. Now, when it comes to the first pattern, we are certainly a big user of Microsoft AI capabilities. And our public search, it is powered by Microsoft solutions. Mm-hmm. Also, any other documents that are coming in this space, public documents that are meeting those criteria to be, I would say, searched and exposed through the Gen AI, that because they are public, we also leverage Microsoft ChatGPT for those solutions as well. And I think Ben made a very good point earlier about the fact that everything has to be customer and client centric. Mm-hmm. We focus on every single product we are developing on how are we ensuring that there is an ROI attached to every single product. So I want to say that most of our capabilities are capable to deliver a solid ROI because we can deliver fast and we can deliver quality and accuracy, as well as, on the other hand, less hallucination and ethical and responsible AI in everything we do.
Yeah, awesome. You want to add anything else here, Ben?
Yeah, there are a ton of stories that I hear. I involved a few, but I think last year, many of the enterprises and connections they tell at the executive level, at board level, they allocate serious amount of money to go do something with the AI. That was like 2023, early 2024, because everyone is doing, got to do something about it. It's like the back in the .com boom days. You got to have a website and you got to have an e-commerce, whether you're selling or not, right? So I think that was like everyone was like trying to do something with AI and leveraging and testing. I think now it's slowly getting matured in a way that finding and solving some of the specific use cases, and especially when John touched about the responsible AI in a responsible way, is very, very important. security takes top of the discussion in every boardroom meetings and conversations, right? So that's the framework. Let me give you a couple of interesting use cases, and it's fascinating. Number one, breaking news. Who breaks the news is the number one thing in the media world. And one publisher pull the data from the police API and have the AI generate and write content and publish the content with AI generated images. And there you go, you have a latest crime news article generated by AI without needing for curation. And imagine you have to publish an article, it has to go through any CMS process. It's a content editing, proofreading, publishing, and caching and delivery. All of those things are done by AI, and you got this nice polished article comes every few minutes, right? And that's just zero people involved. And if you worked in the media companies, you would know there is a thing called newsroom. So you got to publish every single thing through newsroom, and that entire newsroom is automated.
Yeah,
Another use
yeah.
case, for example, lawyers. So you have this AI agents be part of the legal conversations. There is an AI agent sitting there in virtually, and when you have a lot of conversations, when the lawyers generate documentation this and feed it to the LLMs, it will tell, hey, these are the things that you discussed, it's missing or it's corrections and whatnot. So it's virtually like a companion, part of your team, part of you to help do your job effectively and efficiently. I think that is the um, theme that I'm seeing and hearing across. And you mentioned about the document and searching and recognition. Like you feed ton of documents through OCR, and it can recognize images and PDFs, and it creates a meaningful value out of it through AI. So I think those are some of the use cases in the education industry. It's happening a lot. For example, Khan Academy. If not, you should take a look at it. Khan it is literally coaching it. Some of the things concerns about in the education field is, students may ask question and get the answers. What Kanmingo does, it's not give you answer directly. It coaches you. So you can say, hey, what is 1 + 1 equals to? It's not going to tell you 2. Hey, what is this sign? It is a plus. What is on the left side? 1. What is on the right side? So what do you do? So it teaches you along with the lines of, it's a beautiful product. It's launched by Khan Academy. So there are so many use cases I can pile on to this, but if you think about it, the general theme is innovation, where people can leverage technology in a way that just move the needle.
Right, right. Yeah, absolutely. So Azure AI is transforming, like you both of you mentioned, they're automating content creation, they're enhancing customer engagements, I think compliance-heavy processes are taking real advantage to consolidate the documents, review, and do the analysis of the contracts and stuff like that. Okay, let's move on to, we have about 20 minutes left. Let's move on to the next topics. Ethics in AI. John, I know John mentioned about ethics a little bit early on, but Ben, I'll come to you on this topic first. As AI adoption is accelerating, right? Obviously, there are a lot of ethical considerations that are becoming paramount. How does Azure AI promote responsible development to address these concerns?
Yeah, the responsible AI is one of the common theme, and there's a dedicated organization with Microsoft to handle and build the tools and enable the enterprises to handle that. And that comes down to data, privacy, security, governance, compliance, who has access to what, catching some of those conversations and alerting and automating it. So that's just, we're talking about large volume of data. So that's what it is parceled and packaged with every single AI product and every single AI integration that happens, part of our responsible AI framework that Microsoft offers. But also in general, when the industry is coming, I know it's not yet a regulated industry at AI, at a government levels, because every industry and every enterprise is doing certain things the way they assume, and but consumers are watching it. Consumers are aware of it. The awareness of AI by the consumers and customers are very, very high. So, everyone, those who are involved as an engineer, as a practitioner, as an analyst, as a product person, whoever that's involved in this AI cycle part of your enterprise, got to think about the user. Trust. If you break the trust of the user and the privacy of the user is not going to come back to that. And
Yeah.
technology is not an excuse. AI is not an excuse. There are tools out there to make sure you have a policy. Write down a governance policy, write down a privacy policy, and make sure those things are automated. That's the thing. They're not going to review and catch all those things manually. Everything can be automated in a way that generates and collect evidence and gathers and insights that will provide meaningful value. So you can, it's a continuous cycle that can be improved over and over and over.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally agree. John, I know you covered these ethics aspects in our previous questions. I will move on to the next topic. But Azure AI definitely has a framework for responsible AI. They have some kind of dashboards. They have something called FairLearn, which is a Python library, I think. They have yeah. So the organizations can prioritize fairness, transparency, and accountability using these tools offered by Azure AI. Let's move on to the scaling aspects. John, scaling AI solutions across an organization can be complex, right? Initial implementations are pretty straightforward, but scaling becomes complex over a period. What strategies would you recommend for businesses to effectively overcome these challenges using Azure AI?
So, when it comes to scaling any technology, if you look at the history, what happened when we got into the cloud era, where everyone thought that going to cloud actually is going to cut the cost and going to reduce significantly the dependency on a certain type of roles, and changes were expected to be dramatic. And we learned that actually many organizations, especially at the beginning of this journey, they actually saw increase in the cost and increase in the number of people and demand on certain roles. And that was because was misunderstanding of what should be a journey and what could be the elements of getting to a scalable solution. Similar for AI, when it comes to generative AI, in order to ensure that you have something that it is going to grow organically, you have to start with certain elements such as what is the business need, what is the expected outcomes for the business. Second, you have to look at the infrastructure and place where you're going to do it, and is that specific environment going to foster that kind of innovation, but also to give you the protection and the safety that you need to be able to scale. And last but not least, you have, because this is something we covered earlier, the lack of regulation enables companies to become more rapid in adoption and growth and scale, but also it brings a lot higher risk for those companies that are not prepared to have internal policy with the right standards and SOPs and controls. So this adoption, especially when you're talking about scaling in general represents than just ability to grow faster and in a environment, but also allows individuals to be innovative in a decentralized federated type of environment. So again, without having the appropriate guardrails and centralization of this governance resources while decentralizing the opportunity for innovation and development, certainly those elements are critical in my mind.
Yeah, totally. Ben, you want to add anything from the scaling aspects?
Scaling, you can talk about both technology as well as your product, and realizing the value for the business from a scaling perspective. So you can mention many things, but technology is given, right? So it's You're not waiting for ordering for hardwares and waiting for multiple months. Yes, there's always a shortage and a need for a GPUs. Besides that, the infrastructure is out there. All you have to do is put the right people and build it and deliver it and validate and shut it down if it doesn't work, or move on. But the scaling aspect is, as I mentioned before, is the human talent is probably the most important one. And if any businesses, if they're struggling to manage the existing products and existing product lines and looking to innovate, how do you effectively and efficiently use? I mean, that is where you got to leverage AI for many of those things, for creativity, code creation, and the releases, deployment. For example, unit testing. You don't need engineers to write unit tests. You can automate most of those testing platforms leveraging. So, what I'm suggesting is for you to innovate, you got to find efficiencies from the existing organizations, from the existing budgets, from the existing things, so that you can scale and innovate faster. Organizations, those who are quickly find out how they can do that, will win. If they're sitting and waiting for net new budgets to get approved, or net new capital allocations to happen, and net new people to come and join, it is going to be a bigger challenge, given a lot of things are happening in this economy. That's just my personal point of view.
Yeah, totally. You both have nailed right on the essentials here. The human talent aspect is critical. Azure AI also offers certain features like ML ops, LLM ops, and it allows seamless integration with cloud infrastructures. You mentioned GPUs and stuff. And then they also allow you to grow efficiently without compromising the governance and performance. So let's move on to the next item: best practices and lessons learned. So John, I'll come to you on this. What are the key lessons learned from implementing Azure AI? I know you are working in TIA. I don't know if Azure AI was whether you have used Azure AI or Gen AI in your previous organizations. Probably not. But if you can share some insights that will help guide future adopters towards that success, that would be great.
Yeah, to me, I look at generative AI the same way as I look to any other technology. We have to be, first and foremost, I think Ben touched on this, you have to have a first things are educating top down. The enterprise, the leadership has to fully understand what this technology can offer you. I think that's the most important thing, because once they understand, they usually embrace these new technologies and really enables a transformation to take place. Second, it has to be another lesson learned is, if you don't do it with the business needs in mind, you just do it for the sake of innovation or sake of staying in a front of any other company, just from the desire to learn or to have these technologies. Again, that's also not going to work. And many times people are looking to evaluate technologies just from comparing with other technologies, rather than looking at the benefits and how the business and the clients and the customers are going to actually benefit out of it. Mm-hmm. Another important aspect of lesson learned for me was the fact that readiness and upskilling, reskilling employees from a talent perspective, it's also equally critical. I think Ben touched on this one. And being prepared, it's important. And preparedness doesn't mean that we need to hire more employees. It means that current employees have to be put through the right phased approach, upskilling and reskilling educational programs through guilds and others, so they can become the future of workers that we want our company to have, rather than replacing them or bringing new talent. New talent is always critical from ensuring that we are growing our knowledge and our experience, but it's more important to create a team that is open to change, embraces change. So the culture you're creating with the top-down understanding and a bottom-up upskilling and reskilling, I think that's, to me, extremely important, and the most important lesson learned. When it comes to technology itself, that's available, it's here, it's consumable, it's readily available, but when it comes to how to do it, when to do it, those are the questions that you should be able to answer before you really start working in any space specific to generative AI.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, John. I'll move on to the next item that we have here, the future trends in AI. Ben, as we look towards 2025 and beyond, what emerging tech trends in artificial and Gen AI should our nation be paying attention to?
Yeah, 2025 is right around the corner, and lot of planning, especially companies are investing heavily and thinking heavily in terms of AI. So as I said, a lot of testing and trials and uh, proof of concepts went into this year. Next year is companies are going to looking to make revenue out of it, making meaningful value out of it. That is where you're gonna see what sticks around, right? So that is going to be the proven. But at the same time, from a platform perspective, it is going to get more and more matured with more models getting released. Multi-model and videos and vision is going to get matured. One of the areas that we are probably consistently hearing is agents, where AI
Absolutely.
businesses will have agents that representing the parts of their businesses. Consumers will have agents that they can, represent some of the things that it will do better for those. So you will see action oriented. So that is what 2025 and 2026 is going to look like for as the standard generative AI. But beyond that, you hear a lot of conversations about AI with emotions and handling empathy and some of those self-learning. We hear about ANI, and those things are still being researched. And depending upon how well enterprises leverage the value, how well consumers are adopting to these technologies in the next year, those will be accelerated as well. But we'll definitely start seeing some action-oriented AIs that handles some of the duplicative or redundant jobs will be handled by the agents in a much better way. Because if you think about it, people come to internet or online or digital world for two things. One is seeking information and making decisions. And if seeking information can be efficient, and if someone else is making a better decision for me better than me, I'm all for delegating those decisions. That's what you're going to see more and more in next year.
Awesome. Yeah, sounds good. I know we have 7 minutes here. I want to give audience a chance to ask a question or two. Definitely, agentic AI is advancing at a rapid pace, and I know a lot of organizations are already in the process of implementing, unless they have already implemented. Spot on in your answer, in your explanation here, Ben. Let's move on to the next item here, the last item that I have here. We have diverse backgrounds from our participants. So what key advice would you offer to help them navigate and leverage the opportunities in AI and Gen AI? I'll go to Ben. I'll start with you on this one.
Yeah, and first of all, learn, right? That is my foundational ask. There is so much to learn. There is a thing that I hear, like if you're not sure how a transistor works, you cannot call yourself as an electronics engineer. That's what those days you hear. If you don't know how certain things work, you really cannot leverage it better or use it better. I mean, these certain things may look like magic box or black box. What is LLMs? What is fine tuning? How you train the models? How the models work? What is RAG? What is some of those frameworks that sits on top of it? What are the different models offer? What each companies offer with different pieces of it? There is so much to learn, and the content is out there. I think creating that awareness, educating ourselves, the businesses can make much better decisions, right? That's our first thing point. The second one is now what problem you're looking to solve. what are the areas that you need to focus on, and try certain things. And it's not that hard for anyone. You don't need to be an engineer or a software developer or a software engineer to build products. That is the fascinating change what you're saying. Let's say if you're thinking of a mobile app, there are products out there. There are tools within Microsoft Azure AI. You can build and generate code and deploy the product under 30 minutes. That is the reality of it. All you need to know is what problem you're looking to solve, product, use cases, find the right services and tools, generate the code, push buttons, and release and get the product working. That's the world we live in. So writing software for basic products is not a complex thing anymore. So that is my suggestion about learn, try things. If you are not disrupting yourself, someone is going to disrupt. So 2025 is going to be the year of disruption. So try to disrupt yourself and your business and your product. Otherwise, someone is going to disrupt.
Yeah. Now let's take a question or two from audience here. I see number of questions. I think majority of them have already been covered. One question that I want to ask you, John, first is how can startups leverage Azure AI to accelerate innovation? I know this is in some fashion this was covered, but can you elaborate that a little bit? How startups can leverage Azure AI to accelerate innovation?
Yeah, I think this is a great question, and it's kind of a continuation of what Ben said. To me, it's all about being courageous, and even though a startup might not have top-notch engineers, they have that kind of mindset of thinking differently than big businesses. They are thinking differently and they're thinking out of the box. So now they are really empowered by leveraging generative AI to really make the time to market, time to solution, time to idea in business. It's so critical. And for a startup, they really can create demos and they can create solutions in a very, very short time without being an expert in coding or in development or production. But they can leverage these generative AI solutions to really create and deploy those applications. On the other hand, they have to be courageous because it's not only enough to be willing to learn. I mean, they can go and read a book or they can go online and watch a video. If they don't really go and experiment and put their hands on and start playing and trying and experimenting, then it's not going to happen. But they have to look at these technologies as their co-workers, their buddies, their friends, and they should make the best use of this because they are fairly cheap compared to other technologies. And more importantly, they are available and they can make really, these products or this generative AI solution can make them very successful in very short time.
Yeah, absolutely. There are a lot of tools and there are a lot of inexpensive tools. They can play, they can do prototypes and experimentation and all of that. Fantastic. Ben, you want to add anything? I know Microsoft helps a lot of startups.
Yeah, I think, when it comes to startup, it's about nimble, execute effectively, and reach out. It's no longer a challenge building a product or coming up with idea. How to get the adoption and go to market and win the market is what the challenge is, because there are so many products out there. You think about product, there's already 5 products out there. So identify what you're really, really good at. And I always say, come up with why you win. So that's how you got to think about and building a product and go to the market. And as long as you're passionate about it, about the problem, and you have a clear strategy of winning, technology is there to support these things.
Fantastic. All right, I think that we come to the top of the hour here. A big thank you to Pronix and Microsoft for bringing us together to have this important conversation on the future of AI and how tools like Azure AI are enabling organizations to achieve more things. I hope this discussion has given you a clear understanding of the opportunities ahead and the role Azure AI can play in shaping a better, more innovative future. Thank you, panel. Ben and John, you have been wonderful. Your experience, all the insights from your experience were very valuable. I can completely see them here. You both have nailed on all the essentials for each and every topic here. Thanks everyone for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day and evening. See you in future discussions. Thank you.